Yeah, I also thought I'd talk a little bit about Assange. This is creating a shitstorm in leftist circles because it's very difficult. You don't want to blame women automatically that accused of rape. On the other hand, there's obviously a misuse of the word rape when it was consensual, and yet there's parts of the accusation which would be rape. Like one of them said, Assange had sex with her when she was asleep. There's all this stuff that people have pulled out that really shouldn't be taken too much into account because their privacy should be maintained. As I said, I think Assange has no choice, and the right thing to do is to turn himself in and face these charges and get rid of them or do his time or whatever. And I think that's the only way forward. He has turned himself in, but it doesn't look like he's very eager to go back to Sweden, and he will be fighting that. On the other hand, the whole thing just distracts from the releases of WikiLeaks, and people are avoiding what is said in those leaks in the public. Now, they're doing their work internationally as a lot of indignant world leaders are reacting both directly to the things said by U.S. diplomats about them and also indirectly, just kind of being petulant. Um, but but yeah, the funny thing is just the shitstorm. It's difficult. Like Naomi Wolf, feminist, came out mocking Sweden for what they're doing, and again, that's not considered in the left very kosher leftism, because blaming the women or slut shaming them, this kind of thing, is a big part of how legitimate complaints are ignored. So it's very hard to know exactly what's going on here. There's a lot of people turning on Assange. There's a lot of people ignoring their leftist credos about investigating this. Seems pretty clear. I mean, the proper thing to do is, there's an accusation there. And if you think the accusation is like trumped up in a honeypot scheme of CIA operatives, then you really don't want to acknowledge that justice has to go through its course, but it still does, and that's the only way we can know. And even then, we won't know. That's the only way a court can know what facts pertain, and this can be adjudicated based on Swedish law. So it's interesting what a size of a shitstorm. This is the kind of accusation, right, where it's from somebody that supposedly or allegedly or does share your general outlook. And also it's something that's abhorrent to the leftists that might otherwise defend Assange. But I also want to say I continue to see these things, Tea Party websites and Republican congressional leaders, saying Assange should be killed and stuff. Now, how does a Tea Partier go around saying, oh, there should be a sniper up there to fire a bullet right at his head or to actually at his head and kill him? How do these people that preach constantly that you can't trust the government's a criminal organization, it's stealing your money through coercion, defend that the government should just go straight to, violence that can't be met? It's overwhelming violence. How does that work? How can you preach to me that the government is a criminal organization and then say that somebody that helps publish damning information, much of it of criminal activities, ought to just be assassinated? I don't get the logic of that. It's not logical, in fact. Okay, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. All right, and even things that aren't, necessarily crimes, they should be. The government should not be able to knowingly lie to the people. Like say, oh, there's no more torture after Abu Ghraib limited incident. Doing studies on its own, finding out that there's much bigger problems. There being evidence of us helping train and look the other way and sort of trying to benefit from that going on, for example, in the Iraqi police force. And then they lie to the people, They lie to the people and say the opposite of what they know. Why is that okay? And they don't want the scrutiny. They don't want their stuff come to light while we are being, TSA scanned and have cameras at every intersection. Um, and our right to protection doesn't matter because security is more important. Well, what about the security, from the government? On the criminal cases, right? Aren't we trying in security to have security from crime? So how can you want to defend the government for that? In terms of the things that don't reveal crimes, these people are getting away with lying every single day. There needs to be more transparency in government. The information has to get out. It's not just when information gets out on China, but then when it gets out on us, oh, it's a espionage act. We ought to go send special forces to take this guy out. You shouldn't, it's just, if you're lying to your friends, then the guy that brings the truth to light's not the one that destroyed your relationship, you know. And I agree, sometimes you might be diplomatic to the point of a white lie, but it's more than that. It's in every fucking case. Saudi Arabia fomenting hatred of the U.S., defending Arab states, secretly asking us to attack another state in the Middle East. Not an Arab one, but still whatever, details. Or any of these things that are coming out, we why should we accept that we're getting all of the truth? And then people are telling me, well, you just think that because you don't feel like you're running your government even though you have the vote because you just don't like what it's doing. And it's like, no, it's because they're lying to me. I'd like to go blame the voters, but the voters are being lied to. They're not working on correct information. And it's like we're supposed to accept the lie, make our judgment based on that, and then we're surprised that we don't get what we want because we voted for something we didn't understand. We voted for the lie. But it being a lie and us believing it or not knowing it, there was a question of its veracity. We voted on false grounds. You can't really blame the voter except for that the voter should go seek more information. But if we get more information, unvarnished truth, then there's this reaction of, no, don't tell us, it's wrong to tell us, it's unpatriotic, it's treasonous, etc., etc. Anyway, I'm very interested to see how it all turns out. As far as I know, Bradley Manning and any other leakers have the legal system to answer to, but the people that publish what's leaked don't. So I guess we'll see how that turns out.